Well, good morning, everybody. Today is July 3rd, day before the 4th of July. So I thought maybe I'd do a little quick video here. Tell everybody happy 4th of July. And as you can see in the background, it's that time of year. Baling time. We're probably 2/3 done with our first cutting. It's been kind of drawn out between a few rainstorms here or there, and just overall busy. So when you got 600 acres and stuff to do, it doesn't get done overnight. We started on, when did we start? June 10th, I think, somewhere in there is when we started cutting. About the time I was finishing up beans, planting beans. But anyway, we're down to the last 175 acres we got left to cut. Maybe I'll get back to cutting them today. It's been a spring. We've been fighting, getting pivots started with raining all around us. We haven't got a whole lot of rain. Last, what was it, Sunday night, Monday? Sunday night, we actually had about a ½ inch, which is about the best we've had for a couple weeks. We've been catching a 10th here or there when there's been people all around us that have been catching nice rains, I mean within a mile. So, but anyway, and then you got people in northern Iowa and eastern Nebraska and southeast and east part of South Dakota and western and south part of Minnesota, and them poor guys, they got water standing everywhere. You know, Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes or whatever. It's like 1,000,000 lakes now because all the fields that are out there. A little bit of a breeze. Hopefully it's not blowing into the mic too bad this morning. If it is, I'm sorry. But anyway, it is what it is. But just wanted to get a little update out there. That time of year for haying, and about the time I get done cutting the other 170 acres over there, it'll be about time to start over. So, and the pivots, man, we've been having a hell of a time of pivots going this year. We had 3 motors out and irrigation motors. So that's an expensive fix. Just stupid shit. It's been one of them years on top of not making very much money because of low commodity prices. Gotta love listening to the crop update the other day. They didn't downgrade any of it. Still, whatever it was, good to excellent. But yet we got all that corn in Minnesota and Iowa and all that area that's fucking underwater and dead by now, because that was a week ago. What was that? A week ago Saturday? A week ago Sunday or something when they had all that flooding. You know, when it's flooding. I mean, everything's flooding still. And then the other night, eastern Nebraska got more heavy rains, 5-7 inches in places up there in the northeast part, and then central part around Lexington and North Platte and that area, Gothenburg. Sounds like they had real bad hailstorms, just like we had a year ago, where it just comes through and flattens the whole damn crop. So, and I also read the other day a report where it's talking about North Carolina burning up. I think, and I watched Brian's farming videos on YouTube, and he was saying they were getting ready to do wheat, and he was saying they needed a rain. Their corn was not looking great. And then I watched Larson's, of course. Boy, them poor guys, they've been battling it, replanting corn in the early part of June, and replanting soybeans. And I think the last episode I watched, they're going to replant a few black beans too. So, I'm not sure how far behind they are in their videos. I think they're a little more up to date than I am. I got to get my bean planting videos uploaded, which would be about a month behind. But anyway, but we're just out here plugging away, doing what we always do. Do what you can, and hopefully better next year, right? That's what they always say. On the plus side, we haven't had any hail yet, knock on wood, yet. We've had some pretty nasty weather around here. I showed pictures on my channel the other day of last week. It had been a week ago last Thursday, so almost 2 weeks ago we had a hell of a storm come through here. We did get some rain that night too. Thankfully we didn't get any of the bad stuff. I think we got, what did we get, 3/10 out of that, when some people got way more than that. Baseball sized hail. There was 2 tornadoes. One was confirmed later, EF1 or whatever, but there was up to 110 mile an hour straight line winds. Last tally I heard on that deal was around 100 pivots got blown over. So even if it didn't screw up their corn, which I'm sure 100 mile an hour winds, it still tattered the hell out of it, even if it didn't get hailed. But as anybody knows, when it comes to hail, marble and pea-sized and golf ball-sized hail will do more damage to a crop than the great big baseball, softball stuff, because the smaller it is, the more dense it usually is. So it'll chop up the, it's like rain as far as the density. Where you get them great big ones, you'll get one will fall here every foot, 2 foot. Yeah, it's hard on vehicles and it's hard on equipment and houses and windows and shit, but it's not as detrimental to the crop because it's not mowing it off like the smaller stuff will. So here comes TJ and the rake, raking along. Got a little bit of a dew this morning, so I'm not gonna bail just yet, but hopefully we'll be ready to go here pretty quick. Got a little breeze, like you said, and out here making cow hay. Most 95% of our hay all gets sent to a feedlot and ground and fed. So as a farmer, when I say I'm helping feed the United States or America or the world, I am. Because next time you go to the grocery store and buy beef, might have been my hay bales that helped fatten that beef. So anyhow, on top of edible beans. So got the old 55, 44, 55. See, them old girls still work. She's been somewhat retired though. All she about does now is rake hay. She doesn't do any of the major work she used to do. She got a little over, I think that old girl's probably got about 11,000 hours on it. Probably a bit much for a rake tractor, but by today's standards, that 6190 over there, that's physically isn't a whole lot bigger, if it's not a little bit smaller, but it's a 190 horse. That 55 is 100. Let's see, a 4455, I think, come out of the factory at about 145 horse. It has been turned up a little. They did an engine rebuild here, about 2,000 hours ago. I think they turned it back down a little bit. Don't necessarily need that many horse to pull a rake with, but it's paid for and it works, and it works. Why go out and buy a brand new tractor when that one works? When look how what equipment costs. Ridiculous what equipment costs. But yet, like I was talking about the whole crop progress report thing and not downgrading the condition of corn or soybeans when you got all that stuff flooded. I don't understand. They fucking government agencies they fuck with us farmers hardcore. That's what was that, 4 years ago, when we had millions of fucking prevent plant corn from flooding and too wet they couldn't even get it planted, but yet it never showed up on any of the fucking reports until after harvest. So that year was corn got down to, new crop corn got down to when we were harvesting to around here after basis. I think we got it down to like 269. So and we were all shaking our heads like, how the hell can it be that bad when there's all this prevent plant corn? And those of you watching that aren't farmers, prevent plant corn or beans or anything like that is a situation where you can't plant it. You can't get a crop in there at all, period. And that's what happened that one year. It's been like 4 years ago now, I think. Somewhere in there. About COVID period, somewhere in there. So they put it in a program called Prevent Plant, which means that there's no crop planted at all because they couldn't plant it. We have insurance dates. Every state's different. Even parts of the states are even different. Like here, in order to get total crop insurance coverage, you have to have your corn planted by the 24th of May. Beans, and I'm talking edible beans. We are raising a few soybeans out here now. Not many, but we are, and they're doing okay. The problem we have is we still have a logistics problem with soybeans. We only have one co-op or elevator that takes them. Otherwise, you had to go clear back to North Platte, Lexington area. When you're trucking that far, which is 200 miles, somewhere in that area, it's not really feasible, especially when you're paying $4 or some odd. $4 or $5 or even $3.50 a gallon for fuel to get it down there. So, or you're paying somebody to truck it down there. It's still not feasible when you have $9 beans. So our basis is a lot higher here. But now that we have a co-op that's handling them, we got a few more people growing them. We talked about trying them this year, but we decided not to just because still make more money with corn right now here anyway. But anyway, the insurance date for edible beans, I want to say, is late June, like 20th of June or something like that. I can't remember exact date for some freaking reason. But anyway, so like now, if we got a hail, we could replant, but man, it'd be pretty tough. It'd be pretty tough. Because like last year, we had that hailstorm. Let's see, we had the 4th of July on a Wednesday last year. So Thursday was the 6th. Friday was the 7th. Yeah. No, the 5th. So the 7th, yeah. So the 7th of July last year, that Saturday, it was colder than hell, and we had that bad hailstorm. We had lost 600 acres total. 300 and some acres of corn, 300, just right at 300 acres of edible beans last year. It was late enough we couldn't replant because they wouldn't have made. They just wouldn't have made. Wouldn't have had enough time. So I ended up, we just chem followed the ground and started over this year. So, but anyway, that's a little explanation on prevent plant acres. I don't think there's very many prevent plant acres this year because I mean a lot of them guys, a lot of that corn that's flooded got planted and it's up, but it's just standing in 8 foot of water, and they say 7 days of corn being underwater. It has 7 days for it to reseed. Otherwise, it chokes out the oxygen, and just like you and me, you take the oxygen away, what do? We die. So, and beans are even more finicky about water. I've seen edible beans and standing in an inch of water for 2 days, and when the water went away because you had a low spot in the field or whatever, they were dead already. So beans are even more finicky about that kind of stuff. Whether it's a soybean or edible bean, it's still a bean. So anyway, that's that for the day, I guess. We'll give everybody a happy 4th of July for tomorrow, and we'll get this video out pretty quick. I'm going to upload one of my bean planting videos tonight, I think, and we're still around. We're still kicking. Just been busier than hell. Get home late, or even if I do get home at a decent time, I've been tired, so I have not streamed, and I won't stream. My opinion of FS25 as of right now, the pictures look good. Those of you that are gamers, we only got 5 pictures. Tomorrow is 6th. So anyway, the FarmCon's coming up. We're going to get, we'll know more after FarmCon about FS25, a lot more. So, but as far as the CGI trailer, it boggles my mind how many people just go nuts over a CGI trailer. CGI trailer don't tell you a fucking thing about gameplay. All it tells you is what the new crops are going to be, some of the new features. It's not gameplay, so it ain't what's actual. But looking at the 5 pictures that we did get, I'm impressed with the reflections that there are on the water, reflections on the tractors that I've seen. I could give a fuck less about that 715 because, well, you see that back there. I'm not a red guy, just not gonna do her. The Summers equipment we did see in the CGI trailer, that's nice to see. Some more American kind of style stuff. Rice, I'm not gonna bash rice. I was watching somebody else the other day, and they were saying how rice is the 3rd largest produced crop in the world. So, and I did not realize that, but I don't mind eating rice. Hell, I'm quarter Japanese, so I'll eat rice. But as far as farm sim goes, who knows? It's nice to see that they're doing 2 kinds of rice on there, so I might dabble with it. But when it comes to whether I'm going to switch or not, I've been playing FS Farming Sim since 13, and it's been out since 09, so yeah, I've been switching so far. Why the hell wouldn't I switch to the new one? It's dumb that people are going to think that it's just FS22 with a couple new crops. From what I've seen of the pictures and how the trees look, the grass, the foliage, I think it's going to look better. The ground deformation thing, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I never really got big into that. Everybody wants the mud runner type shit, and to me, I remember some maps that have been out that have had mud put on them and stuff like that, and it was able to turn it off. It drove me nuts because it wasn't realistic. It was mud all the time through a low spot when you drove through a gate or something like that. It's just dumb. If it rains and you have mud, then yeah, that's fine. But just mud all the time, I didn't like that. So I don't know. I'm neither here nor there on the ground deformation. Honestly, it'll be nice. For me, what I really wanted to see is more weather type stuff. And according to their description, that's supposed to be part of what's coming. I really hope that weather plays a factor in farming a little bit. What was I talking about at the beginning of this video? I know, I get it. There's some people don't want to play that realistic, but most of the realistic stuff you can turn off. And I think that's what they need to do. For us guys that want to play a little more realistic and want to see that kind of stuff, just make it so we can shut it off. You don't have to play as it, and they already got stuff in the game that way now. So I think that's how it ought to be. But weather is a livelihood to farming. It's just, there's no doubt about it. And that's just like this thing right here by these bales, and it's this long pipe, this thing called a center pivot. Why was that invented? For the same reason that we have sprinklers in our yard. Why do we have that? Well, when it don't rain, we water the yard so it looks nice and pretty green. Same thing with that pivot sitting right there. I think that should be incorporated, and I realize that's not something done everywhere, but I do know that irrigation is done everywhere of some sort. My dad, when I was in high school, worked for a guy that sold Zymatic center pivots, and he went to a couple service schools, and they were selling them clear over in Italy and in Saudi Arabia and China. They watched videos of them Chinese yahoos putting them up with manpower. They weren't even using bucket trucks and boom trucks and stuff like we do around here. So the pivots are everywhere, trust me. So irrigation is something that's everywhere. You know, that's weather. It's a part of farming. It's you make or break it. You know, like I said, you know, you got guys down in Gothenburg and Lexington that wake up this morning and don't have any corn left because it got hailed off. It's random. You got farmers this spring, at the end of April and through May, that had to get the hell out of their house because a tornado come through there and took their house, their equipment. You know, as a matter of fact, the house that my grandparents lived in the Sand Hills where I grew up for 20-some years. My grandma was a cook. Granddad worked for the ranch. Last Tuesday, an F3 tornado went through there, and there's one building left of that farm headquarters, or not farm headquarters, ranch headquarters. The house that they lived in was one of the original farmhouses. It was built in like 1937, I want to say. The horse barn, same thing, gone. Within minutes, gone. I mean, the only thing that's left of that house was the foundation. They had a newer house built for the ranch manager, and that was the only thing left standing, and only half of that was standing. The other half of it was a quarter of a mile away against the on top of a small hill to the south of the house. There was a newer John Deere tractor laying on its side against a tree, where about 50 yards from where the great big machinery shed was. So weather is an important thing when it comes to farming. I kind of screamed and wondered why we haven't had weather effects in the game for ages. I think we should. Hell, American Farmer, John Deere's American Farmer, Farm Sim, the old Farm Sim, they had weather. They even had irrigation in the Farm Sim, but anyway, or Sim Farm, that's what it was, I'm sorry. Not Farm Sim, but Sim Farm, I think is what it was. So I am excited to see, because they were talking about some weather effects, so I'm kind of hoping that it actually, not this, oh, it's raining, you can't combine your corn, oh, it's raining, you can't plant, although there's been some, I've planted corn in Farm Sim when it was raining, so even baled hay, you can't do that when it's wet. So anyway, I'm looking forward to FS25. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming. You know me, I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm not a Giants partner. I had to kind of laugh at all the Giants partner guys, you know, scrambling, putting out their videos, and just, oh my God, it's the, you know, greatest thing that sliced bread. Well, I'm not going to say that, but I'm not going to say it's shit either. FS22 was a hell of an improvement over 19. 19, as far as new games that has been released for Farm Sim, 19 was probably the worst, and the worst release in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. 22 was a little shaky for mods, you know, but once everybody got their mods going, 22's been okay, you know. Even though I've had my rants and my bitches about certain things, but either way, I think 25, from what I've seen, like I said in the pictures, I really like how the trees look. They look really good. The grass, from what I could tell, looked okay. I think the grass could use some work, but the wheat textures that I did see, I like that. I liked how it wasn't all even, although most of the time you go across the wheat field, it's pretty even, really. Depends on the farmer, how good of a farmer he is. But either way, the bigger thing was the reflections on the tractors. We haven't had that, you know, that kind of stuff. The fog, the water looked better. Some things just got to be better. I mean, we're going to do an upgraded Giants engine. It's not necessarily new, it's just upgraded. So these people want new engines. They're fucking crazy. Giants built their engine to work for what we're doing. They don't. It's still a small company. These guys that are wanting. Oh, that one engine. I can't eat the fucking thing. They got to pay royalties to that. So there's a lot of money there. Better off in-house making your own for doing what you want to do. Anyway, enough of my rambling on. I'm looking forward to see what we get out of FarmCon and some actual gameplay and see what it looks like. I haven't pre-ordered it yet. I probably will. And not for MacDon because I can't stand MacDon equipment, but it's good to have in the game. That way everybody's got an option. But anyhow, time to get to baling hay. So, like I said, everybody have a happy 4th of July. And we'll catch everybody later. And catch you on the flip side. Don't forget, keep that rubber side down.